Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reading Reddit with Amber. I have another batch of stories for you from r/Am I the Jerk today. Also, a couple of quick updates on formatting. I now have a new slide that separates out the story slides from my thoughts, so it's going to say Final Thoughts. It was suggested to me that I should have some way to break up the two, so hopefully this will make a clear distinction between the stories and where my thoughts are. We're also working on the audio issues. I've turned up the gain on the microphone, and Brian is doing some denoising for me, so hopefully this makes the audio a little better. It's probably still going to take a lot of trial and error, so hopefully though, in the not too distant future, it will be a little bit clearer for you. So, few new things we're trying. Hopefully they all work out, but feel free to let me know what you think in the comments. Our first story is, am I the jerk for not forgiving my husband, who's a 26-year-old male, for a mistake in not trusting him with our child? I'm a 24-year-old female, and I gave birth to my daughter 6 months ago, and it should have been the happiest moment of my life. When my daughter was born, her skin was very dark and looked like she could have two biological parents who were of African descent. My husband Jim, 26-year-old male, fake name, was furious and accused me of cheating and left right then and there. He told everyone on both sides of the family what happened, made posts on social media, and wanted a divorce. His family and a lot of our friends all called to say how upset they were at me and called me really nasty names. My mother was by my side the entire time, and I kept professing my innocence. Jim refused to pick me up from the hospital, threw my stuff out on the lawn, and changed the locks, so I had to stay with my parents. When my sister called to ask for the baby stuff, Jim texted me pictures of the bare nursery room and said he got rid of everything. He even destroyed my art studio. I like to paint, and the art I made, and told me my work would be too awful to sell. I was distraught and tried to focus on my baby. Weeks went by and Jim refused to speak to me directly and has never once asked about our child. Eventually he agreed to do a paternity test, and he was 100% the father. No one could believe the results, and it was done again. Jim's the dad. Around that same time, one of Jim's cousins did the ancestry thing, and there was around 30% of African ancestry in the family. This, combined with the test, Jim's paternal great-grandmother admitted to having an affair around the time Jim's grandfather was born, and was because he could pass, she just assumed her husband was the father. Since then, Jim has been reaching out and everyone has come to apologize, and while it did feel good to feel vindicated, the damage has been done. I can't unhear or unsee all the horrible things that was said and done. Not just to me, but to my child as well. Jim made some very racist remarks, things that I thought he'd never say, and he did it so easily. Regardless of what our daughter looks like, I don't want her to be around that. What else will Jim and his family say or do the next time they get mad? How are they going to treat our daughter when she does something that upsets them? Jim has been begging for forgiveness. I said I needed time, and he asked to see the baby, and I let him, but I'm too afraid to physically hand her to him. He's repairing the nursery and keeps asking me what I would like, and I cry every time saying we already had what I liked and some of the items that we had can't be replaced. He asked me if I still loved him, and I admitted that he showed me his worst self, and I don't know if I could live with that image. I didn't mean to be hurtful, but it's how I feel. My sister suggested couples therapy, but I don't feel like I should have to work to fix something that I didn't break. I've never cheated and have been 100% innocent all of this time. Am I the jerk for not wanting to give Jim a second chance? Then there's a really long update, and I think you have all the pertinent information, so I'm going to go ahead and skip that. But you can find all the details in the original post online, which I linked to in the description box below. I'm going to say that Opie is not the jerk here. I get why the husband assumed he wasn't the father, but the way he handled the situation was completely inappropriate. He destroyed OP's art studio and her works of art, things that she valued which are irreplaceable, and got rid of all of the baby's things. Even if the child wasn't his, destroying someone's hard work and leaving their child destitute are not an appropriate reaction. And then there's the racism, the way he actively campaigned to turn family and friends against OP. All of this is a terrible way to handle the situation. I can't blame OP for not trusting him with their child, and I worry that if she was to stay with him, he would react in a volatile way if OP does things that displease him. Our next story is, Am I the jerk? Wife got my sister fired. I am currently fighting with my wife. She has a high position at a university. She's had her PhD and has little respect for people who don't have an education. My sister is the same age as my wife, and she is also very successful. Probably a bit more than my wife. She doesn't have the education that my wife does, but she has managed to be successful. She does lie on her resume saying she has a BA degree. Recently, my sister was hired as a bigwig for a company in New York City. My wife was so angry when she heard about it. She said that my sister was a liar and a fraud and that she should never have been given the job. Flash forward 2 weeks. My sister calls me to tell me that she was let go because someone called the office to let them know that she did not have a BA degree. When I brought this up to my wife, she admitted that she did, in fact, call my sister's job and let them know. I was stunned with this news. My sister is responsible for taking care of our sick mother, and she is an incredible person. She has worked over 2 decades in her field, and she has been very successful. I'm aware that she should not lie on her resume, but the company hired her after a background check, and at the end of the day, who cares? I had a huge fight with my wife about butting into my sister's business. I pointed out that she herself has lied about her experience at times, and that she should have stayed out of it. Now my sister is unemployed, and I have no idea how she is going to pay for our mother's nursing home fees. I have little money, and my wife certainly isn't going to help. This decision by my wife is causing unbelievable ripples in our family. My sister helps pay for our niece's college, she's paid for our other sister's medical care after major surgery, and she's also helped me out by paying for my rehab 3 years ago when my insurance wouldn't cover the full 30 days. She also donates 10% of her income to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. She's a good person who wasn't able to afford college. My wife is livid with me for being angry at her. She says that I should support her and understand that this is a major issue for her, people lying about degrees, etc., and that it's my sister's fault for lying, and that maybe now she'll get a job that she's actually qualified for. I have not told my sister that my wife got her fired, and my wife has threatened to leave me if I tell her. Am I the jerk for being angry at my wife for doing this to my sister? Am I the jerk for not telling my sister how this happened? I'm going to say that the wife is a complete jerk here. While it's not a good idea to lie on your resume, the wife had no reason to get involved. Since the sister already had 2 decades of experience in the field, it doesn't seem like the BA was essential for her to do her job. The wife's attitude here is inexcusable. Earning a PhD does not make you superior in all circumstances, and I say this as someone with a PhD. It is an accomplishment, of course, and it does convey that you have a lot of knowledge in a specific area, but it doesn't automatically entitle you to more money or respect than people without degrees. Of course, OP should be upset with his wife. It sounds like she's not a very good person. Our next story is, Am I the jerk for not wanting to accept my husband's affair child? My husband and I have been married for 7 years. Happily, I thought. We have 2 girls, 5 and 4, and 2 boys, 2 and unborn. He's due any day. I lost my job back in March due to the pandemic, and it's been so nice being a stay-at-home mom to the kids. Our 4th child is due any day now, and about 2 days ago I received a bombshell. My husband had an affair. It broke me to the core. He is the love of my life. Then he hit me with the second part of the news. They had a baby about a month ago. He's about 2 months early and in intensive care, and his mother has substance use disorder and was arrested, and they want custody to go to my husband. He told me I let myself go all these months and that it was a moment of weakness. He's telling me that we could still be a happy family and that his baby needs a father. Am I the jerk for not wanting any of this? His side of the family is calling me a monster for turning away a child in need. I feel like I'm living a nightmare. OP is not the jerk here. I mean, the husband is trying to blame OP for his affair because she, quote, let herself go. Like, no, he chose to have an affair. And to call it a moment of weakness when you had an ongoing affair leading to a secret child that you try to hide from your partner seems absurd. I do feel bad for the child in all of this because none of this is their fault, but why doesn't the husband's family take the child in? I think OP is making a responsible choice here for herself and the child by not offering to parent a child she would resent. Our next story is, am I the jerk for being upset and leaving when my sister-in-law stole my pregnancy announcement? I'm a 36-year-old female, and I found out that I am pregnant. I am overjoyed as I have always wanted a child of my own. I focused on my career and my life, and since I am single, I wasn't sure if having a baby would ever happen. I was excited to tell my family the big news. My older sister has one child, my nephew, who's a 7-year-old male. My brother is married, but he and his wife have made it very clear they will always be child-free. Last night we had a family dinner, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to share the news. Since this will be my only child, I wanted to make it special, and I also wanted to involve my nephew. I got a shirt that read, "This is what an awesome big cousin looks like." I slipped away with my nephew before dinner and had a special moment with him while I told him he was going to have a cousin. My nephew was very excited and put on the shirt. He put his sweater on over it, and I told him he could take the sweater off whenever he wanted at dinner. In the middle of dinner, he took off the sweater and waited for someone to notice. Soon, my sister jumped up and excitedly screamed when she saw the shirt. They all then immediately assumed it was my sister-in-law. I wasn't hurt by them assuming this, as I kind of expected it because she is married. I was hurt because my sister-in-law didn't try to correct them. She just went along with it and began to rub her flat belly while laughing. I must have looked completely hurt because my mother yelled at me to stop being rude and to congratulate them. I tried to explain that I was the one who gave my nephew the shirt. Y'all didn't even hear me and just continued to fawn over my sister-in-law. My brother stood frozen in shock, just asking his wife if she was serious. I got up and went home. I received multiple texts at this point from them telling me what a jerk I am for making this about me. They said things like it wasn't my sister-in-law's fault that I was jealous. I didn't reply to anything and just cried myself to sleep. This morning, my sister-in-law must have finally let it slip that she is not pregnant. They have now all called me to apologize, saying that they just got caught up in the moment. They said I shouldn't have left the dinner and that it's my fault I wasn't clear enough that I was the one who was pregnant. My mom said I could have a redo dinner so I can get it right, and they will all act surprised. My sister-in-law sent me a message that said that the way I chose to announce was how she wanted to do it if she ever got pregnant. She said that since she is not ever having a child, that she just wanted to experience what the moment would be like. She also said I can have my chance at a redo dinner. I told them no and that I will not be doing a redo. Every single person has now told me that I am being selfish and a jerk because I won't let them make it right. To me, there is no fixing this. I will eventually forgive them, but I don't want to do a second announcement so they feel better. Am I the jerk? I'm going to say that OP is not the jerk here. I mean, who takes over someone else's pregnancy announcement like that? This isn't the sort of thing that you can just do over, and the family is being ridiculous by expecting OP to go through the whole thing again so everyone can pretend to be surprised. Our final story of the day is, am I the jerk for leaving after my husband invited his parents to our first wedding anniversary? I'm a 26-year-old female, and my husband is a 25-year-old male. My husband and I got married about a year ago. I'm the kind of person that really likes celebrating special occasions that are important to me. Before my husband and I got married, he promised to take us somewhere nice on our first wedding anniversary, and since my wedding was an absolute disaster, Thanks to my in-laws, mother-in-law to be specific, I saw this as a chance to have another special day to celebrate my relationship with my husband, but things have been rough the past few months. I'm 5 weeks pregnant and our whole plan changed. My husband suggested that we have dinner at a nice restaurant that his mom picked for us and recommended. Okay, now she's trying to get involved in this year too. Anyway, he showed me pictures and the type of food they serve and asked me to pay. It's an expensive restaurant. I suggested we pick another, but he insisted. I agreed, and once we got there, I found that the menu wasn't there, which was weird because I was ready to order. About 15 minutes of my husband stalling, his parents walk up to our table, dressed nicely, and sat with us. I looked at my husband for an explanation, but he avoided me to tell his mom that the food they wanted was ordered ahead. His mom immediately made backhand comments about my hair, dress, weight, and didn't stop. I was literally mad. She and her son started drinking while my father-in-law started talking to me about, quote, politics. The final straw was when she canceled the cake I wanted and replaced it with the one her husband liked. I got up, told my husband to hand me the keys or I was going to walk. He tried to calm the situation. That's when his awful mom started talking about me acting inappropriately. She told her son to just hand me the keys because she didn't want me to embarrass her. I left. An hour later, my husband came home, started berating me for overreacting and ruining dinner. I yelled at him. What the heck was he thinking inviting his parents? He said they paid for it, so he had to invite them. Started arguing, saying that he saw nothing wrong with what he did. Didn't even tell me and argued about how I was being awful to his family. I went to my mom's after he insulted me, and I've been feeling bad ever since. His mom texted me, but I ignored her. Okay, Ophi is definitely not the jerk here. This reminds me a lot of the engagement party story we read a couple of weeks ago, which I'll link to if you haven't seen it. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have an anniversary dinner just you and your partner. If the husband can't even put his wife first for one night, then he is a lousy partner, and I do not have high hopes for their future. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving it a like or letting me know in the comments. I post new videos twice a week, funny or outrageous ones on Wednesdays and spooky ones on Sundays. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.